Morning. Thank you all for coming today, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So our advanced academics team at the administration level includes Dr. Bobby Martinez. He's the Executive Director of School Leadership, myself, Patty Hammer, Director of Advanced Academics, and Dr. Amanda Smith. She's the Coordinator of Advanced Academics, and Dr. Amanda Smith and myself are here today to answer your questions. There's also a link on this slide to our Advanced Academics page. So once that's shared with you, you can use that link to go to our website. So the goals of today's Advanced Academics Parent University is to allow parents to gain a better understanding of giftedness, what the state expectations are, the ALVIN ISD process for GT referrals and identification, and then the ALVIN ISD GT program design. So one of our core beliefs in ALVIN ISD, and you can see this on the district front of the district webpage, is that students achieve their maximum potential when provided engaging learning opportunities. And so the mission for our department follows along with that. The mission of the ALVIN ISD Advanced Academics program is to support each gifted and talented student and advanced learner in order to foster the academic and social emotional needs of these students in the following ways: through cultivating relationships, strengthening critical thinking skills, providing greater depth and complexity, and differentiating learning experiences to encourage lifelong learning. So what does gifted mean? So we have a definition that we use for gifted, and this comes from our state definition. A gifted and talented student is a child or youth who performs at or shows the potential for performing at a remarkably high level of accomplishment when compared to others of the same age, experience, or environment, and one who exhibits high performance capability in intellectual ability and higher level thinking skills. So the state of Texas has expectations that they have laid out in a document called the Texas State Plan for the Education of Gifted and Talented Students. And we have a link to that document on this slide here. The document is fairly lengthy, and it's probably something you would want to look at on your own time, but it has 6 main components. And the first component is the Fidelity of Services. So what did the Fidelity of Services look like for the state? What would it look like if a district is doing everything could possibly be doing? The next one is the outline of student assessment, service design, the curriculum and instruction, what professional learning expectations are from the state, and how to include family community involvement in your programs. So the educator responsibility. Any teacher that teaches gifted children must have a required 30 hours of initial GT training and an annual 6-hour update. These teachers include all kindergarten teachers, our GT cluster teachers, our APA 5th grade math teachers, all APA teachers in secondary, the MAP and STEM Academy teachers, and AP teachers. The gifted and talented supplemental on the Texas Teaching Certificate as well. That is something that, that our advanced academic specialists are required to have. And so basically that means they have a certification for that. So the traits of giftedness in children, what do the characteristics look like in a child that is gifted? And so this helps with parents trying to decide, should I refer my child for testing? Do they exhibit traits of giftedness? And so there are 4 categories of those traits. One is cognitive, then we have creative, affective, and behavioral. And we're going to go to the NAGC website. That's the National Association for Gifted Children, and look a little bit more into these traits. And when we train our teachers, we also train them to look for these traits because teachers can give referrals. So what does cognitive what do cognitive traits look like in a gifted child? And here are some examples. They may have a keen power of abstraction, a large vocabulary, intellectual curiosity, independence in work and study. In the creativity realm, they may have a keen sense of humor, an ability to fantasize, intuitiveness, independence in attitude and social behavior. Affective, an unusual emotional depth and intensity, sensitivity or empathy to the feelings of others. And then we have behavioral, which could be spontaneous, enthusiastic, extremely curious, constantly asking questions. And so these are some examples of traits of giftedness. Every gifted child may not necessarily have each of these traits, but they could have some of those. So those are some traits of giftedness. So what does the ALVIN ISD identification and assessment process look like? Do we have an okay, first of all, it would start with what we call a referral. And referrals can be made by teachers, administrators, counselors, peers, students, or parents. There are notices of referrals on the district and campus websites. And this referral is submitted to the campus advanced academic specialist. The student must be enrolled in ALVIN ISD. And the deadline for referrals in grades 1 through 5 is March 1st. And then the deadline for referrals in grades 6 through 12, we have a fall semester deadline of October 1st and a spring semester deadline of March 1st. And on this slide, there are links to each of those referral forms. So when the slide show is shared with you, you will have those links. The links are also available on the Advanced Academics website of ALVIN ISD. The identification and assessment state requirements. So if you would look at the state plan, there are specific requirements that the state says you should have when you're identifying and assessing for gifted and talented. One is the use of multiple criteria, a minimum of 3 measures. You must have a quantitative, which is an ability and intellectual assessment, and a qualitative or professional recommendations and classroom performance data. And so those are things that we are required by the state. So we, as a district, identify our students based on criterion and norm reference testing, intellectual assessment, and teacher recommendations. So what does quantitative data mean? So quantitative data is something that can be measured. It's usually given a numerical value. It's factual, it's related to numbers, and it is objective. On the other hand, we have qualitative data that we use. So what does qualitative data look like? It's more descriptive information. It's related to the quality of work or performance of the child. It is subjective. There are observations that can be used in this component, and then it looks at the whole child rather than just the quantitative piece. You're looking at the whole child. So the GT, the identification and assessment, and we have a GT identification team. So after all of the quantitative data is gathered and all of the qualitative data is gathered, a committee meets on the campus where your child goes to school. And data is shared during this committee meeting. And the committee reviews the quantitative and qualitative data. And based on the data, the committee determines placement. And then parents are notified of the decision by letter. And so the committee typically consists of the advanced academic specialist, an administrator at that campus, a counselor at that campus, and then the teacher. Identification process. This is in grades 1 through 12. So in elementary, grades 1 through 5, assessment occurs in the spring semester, and student referrals in grades 1 through 5 must be turned in to the advanced academic specialist by March 1st. And then for secondary, grades 6 through 12, assessment opportunities are made available once a semester. And so in the fall, they are due to the advanced academic specialist by October 1st. And in the spring, they are due to the advanced academic specialist by March 1st. So kindergarten, what about kindergarten? Kindergarten looks a little different. If you go into the state plan, you'll notice that it says that each district should consider all kindergarten students for possible GT. And so what we do in ALVIN ISD is we look at all kindergarten students. During the fall semester, our advanced academic specialists go into every kindergarten classroom multiple times, and they have observations that they conduct, they have activities that they do with the students, and they have a screening assessment that they use, and collect all of that data. And then based on that information, we look at students who show potential of giftedness, and they are tested during the months of January and February. And then for those who qualify for the GT services or who are placed in the GT program, those services will begin by March 1st of the school year. So what if your child transferred into ALVIN ISD? So identified gifted and talented students from another district are considered for placement during the first 6 weeks of enrollment. The previous gifted and talented documentation should be provided by parents to the campus advanced academics specialist, and sometimes further assessment may be needed. The campus selection committee for GT students reviews the assessment data and determines the best placement for the student. And then parents are notified in writing of the campus GT selection committee's decision. Now, what if my child transfers to ALVIN ISD and they were in a private school or a homeschool situation? So if your child is newly enrolled in ALVIN ISD as a previous private school or homeschool student and has never attended public school, the district will conduct a summer screening on your child. It's offered in the summer, and then we will also offer it in the fall within the first few weeks of school. This is an initial screening, and then all screenings and our testing will occur within the first few weeks of school during the fall semester. After this time, any new student referrals will test during the spring testing cycle. And ALVIN ISD will conduct GT summer screenings once for a child. Many times we get asked the question, how can I prepare my child for the GT identification and assessment process? There is no preparation that's needed. So if you want to strengthen your students' basic academic skills, one of the best things that you can do for your child is read. Read. Reading to your child helps them tremendously in their academics. The next thing is critical thinking. Working with depth and complexity is going to be on the last slide, and that is a tool that we use in our district to get students to think critically and to dig deeper into what they are studying, and also to provide opportunities for your child to explore their curiosities or interests. So the ALVIN ISD, GT, and Advanced Academics Program design. So what do our...
Patty, before we get into the service design, we do have are directly related to our identification and assessment procedures. So I'm just going to read them to you one at a time. So the first question is, comes from Tracy, and Tracy asks, the deadline was October 1st. Can we still get a referral due to this meeting after the deadline?
For secondary? Is that a secondary person?
I'm
I'm guessing it's a secondary person. So we do try, this information is posted on our website. And so we try to stay true to our dates. Um, I'd be more than happy to speak to you, or we could have one of the secondary, whatever campus, the secondary advanced academic specialists can speak to you. But this is publicized for the community. We are just having this parent university to share live with parents, but this information has been posted on our website for quite some time.
And the next question is, once the students are labeled gifted, do they need to be tested again the following year?
No, once a child is identified as gifted and talented in ALVIN ISD, they will remain gifted and talented, identified as gifted and talented, unless for some reason they are furloughed or exited from the program. And those are few and far between occurrences, but typically students, once they're identified, they stay identified.
And I think that covers this other question that says, if the child is identified in elementary, do they have to retest in secondary? So the answer for that would be no. Once they're labeled in ALVIN ISD, that label will stay with them. Another question is, we answered the question about the GT between ISDs. We talked about that when we got into the transfer testing. This is a question from Chris. Not all kinder students were tested last year during COVID. If they were virtual and opted out, will those students automatically be tested this year in first grade, or do they need a referral?
So those students would need a referral.
This question is, if a child is advanced to a higher grade due to a teacher recommendation and testing, how is that different from a child being labeled gifted? So we do have acceleration at the 5th grade level for math class, and that is a process that goes through the elementary mathematics department, and the teachers will use a matrix for that. Our APA classes, which is ALVIN's Pathway for Advancement, are open enrollment classes, and that is entirely different than our gifted identification and assessment process. And then some of these other questions are about MAP, and so we'll get into that in just a moment.
Okay, is that all the questions?
If a child is identified as GT, the child is moving. I'm not sure about that one. Several children may not be selected for GT, but still need the challenge. What is the district doing for students to offer advanced academic options? So we're just about to get into service design. Perfect question to lead us into the next section. Thank you for your questions.
Okay, so the elementary GT program, the elementary students are served on their campus, and we have what we would call a GT cluster class model, and I'm going to show you a visual that represents that. And identified GT students also participate in the pullout, where the advanced academic specialist comes and pulls those students out of the classroom and works with them. We have differentiated curriculum in the classroom, depth and complexity. As I mentioned earlier, our teachers are trained to meet the needs of gifted children. We are developing lifelong learners and contributors to the community. So also at the elementary GT program, we encourage acceleration, and students are provided an array of learning experiences, participating in a wide choice of Texas Performance Standards projects. And those projects are available online. If you would Google Texas Performance Standards projects, there's a website of those projects. The students are introduced to and use the district adopted independent investigation method, or IIM. It is a research process, and it involves 7 user-friendly steps to accomplish research tasks. And the student products and performances are spotlighted and shared with the committee in a campus showcase. So our school day GT services comprise of GT cluster classes, GT pullout classes, and social and emotional learning. This is a model of our GT service design. And so it's a Venn diagram, and you have the GT cluster teacher where the identified GT students are in that classroom along with other students who have shown that they can can work at a faster pace. And so based on our testing, we create a matrix, and that's what builds the GT cluster class. And so in the GT cluster class with the GT cluster teacher, those students are working on learning with depth and complexity, TPSP research projects, critical thinking, the IIM research model, and differentiation, and all of that to Fidelity. And then the advanced academic specialist, when they pull out your child, they are working on social and emotional learning, because that's an important component of gifted education. The TPSP research project, Latin, thinking skills, depth and complexity, the IIM research model, and doing all of that Fidelity of Services. And they also push in to the GT cluster class and work with all of the children that are in that class, and they collaborate with the teacher, and they coach and co-teach with the teachers as well. Outside of these rings, you will see opportunities that are outside of the classroom for all students. And so these are some ways that we meet the needs of students in ALVIN ISD and participating with all of these other options. For example, academic UIL is a great way, and that's offered at every one of our campuses. And each year, students have a great opportunity to participate in that. So sometimes people ask us about the Wings Academy. And so we were noticing in our district that we had some students who had needs that were different than those in the GT program, that they needed something a little different. And so we opened the Wings Academy. It is a school within a school model. It includes grades 1 through 5. And it meets the social and emotional and cognitive needs of highly gifted children. And so all students who are entering 1st through 3rd grade are screened through the ALVIN ISD GT testing process. So if they are tested for GT and they are entering 1st through 3rd grade, we look at all of those students for possible referral for Wings testing. And so they would qualify as highly gifted through an evaluation process that includes qualitative and quantitative measures. So there's an additional step that occurs for Wings Academy students. So the school features multi-age group classes, a curriculum for highly gifted learners, an individual learning plan that appropriately challenges each student's abilities, and then a learning environment that recognizes their social emotional needs and fosters leadership, integrity, personal responsibility, and an appreciation of individual differences along with respect for others. And then it also includes the engagement of parents in that learning process. Our Wings Academy coordinator is Sammy Gardner, and here is a link to her email. And so she is the one who coordinates the Wings Academy. So do we have any questions about the elementary?
I think that you answered them. You had some questions about cluster, but it would happen right when you were going over cluster. There was a question that went back to kinder assessment. Will the child's GT screening from kinder assessment results be given to the parents?
So you can request that. You can call the advanced academic specialist and request that information, and they can share that with you.
And I think that is it. We have another question. Let's see what this one is. Is the parent informed about Wings Academy testing?
So after, as I mentioned, we look at all students who went through the GT testing process, and the students, we're looking for students who fall basically in the top 1% of the population. And so through looking at the GT testing process, we look for those students, and letters are sent to the parents. And so you would know if your child is being considered for wings.
When kids, is there a deadline for testing for wings?
So wings occurs during, so after a testing cycle goes, for example, we finished fall with all of our newly enrolled students. We look through all of that data, and then it would occur right after that. And then when we have our kindergarten testing, we look at all the kindergarten data, and wings, you would be addressed at that time. And then during the spring testing cycle, after that occurs, then Sammy Gardner, as I mentioned, our coordinator, she contacts all the students who meet the criteria for a referral. And then also, as I mentioned, there is additional, if you are referred for wings, there is additional quantitative and qualitative assessment data that needs to take place. And then that's looked at by a committee and decided upon what is the best placement for that child.
And then since students are testing right now, when will test results come out?
So I'm not sure exactly. So you should probably contact the advanced academic specialist at your campus. I'm not sure if you are elementary or junior high or high school. We don't have like a send out date that everything is sent out. It usually occurs within that campus. So you would need to contact the campus that your child attends, the advanced academic specialist on that campus, and they can give you more information on that.
So, all right, so junior high program options, I'm just gonna start over from the beginning. So we have our GT students at the junior high. They receive differentiated services through specially trained teachers in each of the 4 content areas. So we have APA classes, and that does include our math APA class. And math APA is accelerated instruction, so it's going to be 1 grade level ahead. Our other APA classes for the core areas are not accelerated, but they are taught with a greater level of rigor and challenge. But again, they are not accelerated and they are open enrollment. We have MAP, Magnet Academic Program, and I do have some more information on that, so I'll get to that in just a moment. We do have AP Spanish at 2 of our junior high schools. And we also have the STEM Academy. So we do service our GT students through these junior high program options. At each of our junior highs, we have an advanced academic specialist. And this advanced academic specialist will offer individual and group support for teachers and students in order to implement and produce advanced coursework and products. The advanced academic specialist is also the person who's going to communicate the progress of gifted learners to parents. So let's talk a little bit about MAP. So MAP is an accelerated program for math and science, and it is an integrated program for reading and social studies. So that curriculum is designed to meet the cognitive needs of advanced learners who are placed in the MAP program based on an assessment process. That assessment process begins with a screening for all 5th grade students, and that screening begins in the 2nd semester of the 5th grade year. Students who will move on from the screening will move on to testing, and they will be administered just a battery of mathematics, reading, and writing assessments, and those assessments are both timed and untimed. From there, the qualifying students are placed on a matrix, and it's completed with information that's taken from those assessments, as well as other qualitative data, but not limited to STAR simulations, NWEA assessment results, and class grade averages. Students are only eligible for the screening and or testing process 1 time. From there, if students qualify or are placed into the MAP program for both math, science, and for humanities, those scores are moved to another matrix to look for placement in the STEM Academy. So the STEM Academy students, or the students that are being looked at for the STEM Academy, they must qualify through a series of qualitative and quantitative measures. And the STEM Academy is a program that focuses, it's actually a school within a school, and it focuses on problem solving, discovery, creativity, exploratory learning, teamwork, leadership skills, communication skills. But also there is a higher level of depth and complexity that's needed to meet those cognitive needs of those highly gifted students. And just as with MAP, students are eligible for screening and for testing for that process only one time. And I just want to reemphasize that MAP and STEM require testing for admission and placement. And I see a lot of questions about STEM and MAP, and I'm going to address those in just a moment. So for high school, we have the GT program options. We have APA again, we have AP. So in high school, we have many AP classes that our students can participate in. We also have dual enrollment classes. We have highly trained teachers that integrate collegiate level curriculum with the TEKS in order to help prepare students for the rigor of advanced placement and dual enrollment courses. So AP and dual credit or dual enrollment, those two terms are interchangeable, dual credit and dual enrollment. Those programs represent vertical and horizontal acceleration, and this allows students to earn that college credit while they're in high school. So in addition, students can, if they want, they can earn a dual degree through the dual enrollment program through ACC. And this will enable them to participate in that opportunity to earn an Associate of Arts degree. So there's basically two pathways for earning college credit while taking high school courses. Here are the pathways. There's AP courses. So the way that AP courses work are that the students will take the college level curriculum all year long. And in May of the school year, they will take a College Board AP exam, and they have to score at a certain level. And that score that's needed to earn that college credit can vary by the university. But once they score at that mark that they need, they can get that college credit. And this is a standard global curriculum that's developed by College Board. Another pathway would be for dual enrollment, and you might have heard dual credit. Those terms are used interchangeably through ALVIN Community College. So credits earned through successful completion of the ACC course, and that transfer credit can vary by university. And this curriculum is developed by ACC professors. We also have an AP Capstone program. This is where high school students have the opportunity to create professional level projects through College Board's AP Capstone program. And AP Capstone is comprised of two courses. So there's AP Seminar. So this is the beginning of the AP Capstone program. So students are developing their research skills, they're practicing, they're collaborating and communicating, they're investigating a variety of topics, they write research-based essays, they give oral presentations, both individually and as part of a team. And then they move on the next year into AP Research. And this becomes an independent project. And students build on what they've learned in AP Seminar. They deeply explore their research topic of interest. So they will select a problem or an issue, and they'll research it. And then they'll do an oral defense and write a research paper on it. And they submit all of this to College Board in efforts to earn college credit for that as well. And so you'll be able to click on the link for more information on AP Capstone. We also have Project Lead the Way classes. So this is where high school students can develop professional level projects. And these are STEM based. So if students want to take the engineering pathway, they'll start with Introduction to Engineering Design. There's a description there. They'll move on into aerospace engineering, civil engineering and architecture, engineering design and development, and then principles of engineering. So we'll have a link available for you to learn more about PLTW. So there's a STEM focus there in that engineering pathway. It culminates in engineering design and development. So our PLTW students are going to develop a project, and they're going to actually present the project at the end of their course to engineers in the field. We have J.B. Hensler College and Career Academy, where high school students can earn CTE certifications. So there's a list of possible certifications in these fields. We have wonderful facilities here in ALVIN ISD for our students to learn some of these, all about these skills and technical aspects of careers, and earn certifications by the time that they leave high school. So we have many students that are participating in dual enrollment classes, AP classes, and then they also attend J.B. Hensler for their career skill building classes as well. So our students kindergarten through high school participate in independent research projects. The Texas Performance Standards Project, the TPSP, comprises a set of performance standards, curricular, and assessments for differentiating instruction and deepening academic learning. So we have TPSP projects for our GT students and beyond that are participating in this independent research opportunities. So we invite you, once you get a copy of the PDF for our presentation today, to learn more about TPSP by clicking on that link. Our extracurricular programs for advanced academics in our GT students, we have many extracurricular programs at the elementary school. We have robotics and sea perch, chess, field trips, math competition, destination imagination. We have the spelling bee. We have guest speakers that come in. Student council, UIL is a great way for students to get involved in an academic competition. And we have UIL at the junior high and the high school level. We have STEM clubs and STEM programs at our junior high school level. We have robotics, we have sea perch, chess again, we have guest speakers. At the high school level, we have academic decathlon, we have NHS, we have student council, we have model UN, and again, UIL continues through high school. So we do encourage our students to get involved in those extracurricular programs as they can extend their interest in their academic endeavors beyond the school day. Here's a little bit more information about academic UIL. So we have academic A+ academics. We have in 20 different events in grades 2 through 8 and 30 contests in high school. So the events will span the curriculum, and they're designed to complement and expand what students learn in the classroom, both through learning specific and subject knowledge and through learning skills that are valuable in many disciplines. So we have a lot of Texas schools that are participating in academic UIL and competing in more than 300 district meets in a year. For elementary, our UIL competition is held at the end of January. Preparation for this begins in September. Junior high will be in February this year. Preparation usually begins in November or sometimes in October. And high school UIL occurs throughout the school year. So we have invitational tournaments, and those invitational tournaments provide opportunities to advance to state level competitions. So with UIL, our students will try out for teams, and then they'll attend weekly practice for the event up until our district competition. And UIL is a really great way for students to get involved in ongoing scholastic learning and an experience that is geared with competition in mind. And you will have access to this presentation, so you'll be able to click on that link and learn more about academic UIL. So I think before we get into sort of towards the end of our social and emotional section and getting towards the end of our presentation, we're going to go back and check the chats. I know there were a lot of questions about MAP and STEM, and I want to make sure to address those. So let's just get back to, if you'll just give me just a moment to get through these. And let's see. Okay, so yeah, we did cover, Lucy had a question. I'm sorry about those technical difficulties. We got those resolved. And before, Lucy, you did have a question. Elementary was, we had some information about elementary program design earlier. This presentation is being recorded and we will share it out. And let's see, so tested in kinder, did not qualify, currently in APA math. So we do encourage you to submit, parents can submit, teachers can submit, anyone can submit a referral if testing occurred in elementary school. That GT testing can be done again at the secondary level. So if you would like to provide that GT referral for testing in junior high, the specialist would be happy to take that referral. Yes, our ALVIN ISD webpage has a ton of information, some of the same information that were covered today. MAP is separate from GT. So MAP is a way that we will service our GT students, but MAP is not specifically designed to be a GT program. We do have students that are not identified GT in MAP. So if someone isn't GT, they absolutely can still qualify for MAP. Are kids in AP, MAP, STEM programs able to graduate early? So the way that the high school endorsements and program designs work with graduating early, that's really a question that would go towards a high school counselor. We do encourage our students, even though that they're taking accelerated courses, that they continue on. So for instance, our MAP kiddos, if they're in math and science and they're taking geometry in the 8th grade, these are our students that usually their senior year are taking AP statistics or taking some other AP courses or other advanced courses that they're interested in. And they are staying in school for those 4 years, but that definitely is a question that would be great to discuss with your high school counselor. Is the assessment for MAP and STEM the same? So we look at MAP scores for STEM placement. A STEM student would qualify for both math and science and MAP humanities. Our STEM students are all identified GT. So the additional screening piece for STEM would be GT testing if that student was not already identified GT. We do provide accommodations for our MAP testing, just as any student would receive accommodations for their testing at school. We do provide those for MAP testing, and whatever the timing accommodation is provided for those MAP tests as well. We have MAP at every junior high in the district, and our STEM Academy is now housed at Manville Junior High. I talked about MAP and STEM already. So is a child in APA able to advance in MAP? So at our 5th grade, if the child is in APA math, those students do go on to the MAP math testing. Our MAP testing is done only at the 5th grade level, and we give that testing only at one time. But all 5th grade students are screened. So a 5th grader that is not in APA math, that is in on-level math, is still screened for the MAP program. where do wings students traditionally transition at the junior high level? Do you want to answer that?
So our Wings Academy students, Sammy Gardner takes their data and she puts them on the map matrix and the STEM matrix as well. And so they kind of funnel through just as other students would.
Okay, I have a 7th grader who is advanced at 6th grade in another district. How can we enroll her in advance? So for the advanced classes in ALVIN ISD, we have APA, and APA is open enrollment except for math, because we have accelerated math in ALVIN ISD. So when students transfer into ALVIN ISD, what we do is we look at what math that they're coming in with. So we keep them on the same pathway. So in other words, if a student was in accelerated math in another district, then they could continue on that accelerated math pathway in ALVIN ISD. But if the student was not on an accelerated math pathway, then we would want to keep them on the same pathway that they were at so that there were no gaps in learning. How could I get my child entered into dual enrollment? So the junior high counselors, if your student is in 8th grade and you're considering dual enrollment, your junior high counselors will have information on a test that's called the TSI. And that TSI is provided through ACC. And that test will be needed for dual enrollment classes. If your child is in high school and interested in dual enrollment classes, I would reach out to the high school counselor and they can help you with that question. Do Wings Academy students need to go through evaluation?
We already answered that.
Okay, we answered that one. APA is accelerated for math only. So APA for the other core subjects other than math is not accelerated, but it is taught with a different level of rigor and challenge in depth and complexity. But math is the only accelerated program, and accelerated by what that means is 1 grade level ahead. So if a student is in 6th grade APA math, they're taking 7th grade math. What is the benefit of having college credit in high school? So college credit in high school will just allow the student to participate in other college classes when they actually get to college or graduate college earlier. So there's different reasons why students would have that college credit in high school. Also, there's different GPA points for some of those college level classes such as APA and dual enrollment. And you can find more information about GPA on the ALVIN ISD website if you go to the high school course guide. So the questions about the scheduling testing for the TSI for dual enrollment, if you could please reach out to your junior high to ask questions about that, because I do not have information about the TSI. The junior high counselors are going to be the ones that you need to talk about dual enrollment with. Elementary was already discussed, but we do have this recorded, and so we're going to be sending that out. How do you sign up for extracurricular at elementary?
So if you have a child at the elementary school, and as I mentioned, the extracurricular opportunities in this PowerPoint are for any student. And so you would contact the elementary school and ask, about whichever activity your child wants to participate in and who at that campus oversees that, and then get in touch with that person and try to get signed up.
So our MAP program is a way that we are preparing students to take AP in high school. So definitely our students that are in MAP Humanities, we would like to see them taking AP Human Geography their freshman year. And then because of the accelerated nature of math science, we definitely have opportunities for students to go into those AP Physics and AP Science classes in high school. That's what the preparation is for. AP is accelerated in math.
So the extracurricular programs that are not available at your elementary, I would contact your campus. So you would need to participate from your campus. And so I would contact the advanced academic specialist there, or the someone in the front office, and see who could you talk to see about getting that started again.
8th graders will meet with counselors sometime in the early spring, so be on the lookout for that information to come to you soon. I appreciate if we can get clarity what options. So again, APA classes are open enrollment with the exception of math. And so that those advanced academics classes are open for all students.
And at the elementary level, we use what we call a small group instruction. And so all of the classroom teachers for ELA, they use leveled readers for the students based on where they are at. And so they're grouped in levels, and their instruction is specific to whatever level they're performing at. And so there's a lot of individualized instruction, differentiation, and small group instruction that occurs in every classroom. And then, as we mentioned, the depth and complexity, that goes on in classrooms beyond the GT cluster class and the GT pullout class. And so I would approach the teacher and ask about that. And so those are some options that students have at the elementary level.
You can find out high school information if you go to the ALVIN ISD website, and you can look at, I think they're still working on the course selection or the course guide for the new next school year, but you could take a look at last year's course guide and learn more about high school pathways. I might not be using the exact language because I think that they've updated that, but the endorsements or pathways are where they take courses in a specific field. So you might take like STEM classes, so engineering classes, 4 years of those engineering classes, or medical classes. So they have a large variety of ways that students can learn and prepare for their careers and develop that career interest. If you go to our ALVIN ISD Advanced Academics website, and you look under the service design and program design, there is a PowerPoint or a slideshow specifically on math and STEM. So you can learn about the difference between those two. STEM does have a robotics and rocketry focus. Our STEM Academy students at the 8th grade level are taking pre-AP physics for their science class. So it does have a physics component to it. The student nope, MAP is a one-time test only. STEM Academy is for GT students. It's the way that we service our highly gifted students at the junior high level. If there's any questions about GT identification when it comes to STEM, Sammy Gardner takes care of all of that. So if a child was tested before and needs to be tested again, or is currently identified, that current identification stands, and Sammy would work with that, the GT identification in regards to placement in STEM. So there's for MAP Humanities and MAP Math, that they are placed in both and they're identified GT, that MAP Humanities and that MAP Math Science score are looked at, and it's a different placement matrix that's used for STEM Academy placement. Not all junior highs offer the STEM program. We only have STEM program at Manville Junior High. Can I give more information on MAP screening? So if you are a parent of a 5th grade student, you're going to be getting a letter in early January, and it's going to talk, the letter will disclose all the information about the MAP screening and testing process. Elementary extracurricular programs, you would want to reach out to your campus. We have acceleration in math for elementary at the 5th grade level. So the process for that consideration starts in the 4th grade. talk about the appeal process for GT testing?
So the appeal process, if you go to our website, there is a specific time that we have to give a response back when a parent appeals. And so that they would appeal at the campus level. And I can't tell you the exact number of days offhand, but it is on our website. It tells you the amount of time that we would take to respond back to you.
Okay, Sammy Gardner will check evaluations funnel students. Does that mean
Eighth graders decide whether to do AP or dual classes.
So the STEM Academy testing is the MAP testing. So again, students have to be placed in math science and math humanities, and they are identified GT in order to be considered for STEM. And so what is looked at is the actual scores on the MAP test. Is there any additional? There is no additional testing for GT students to get into the STEM Academy. We do not have, currently we do not offer STEM at Shadow Creek High School. We do have PLTW at all of the high schools. The eighth graders do help, the counselors do help the eighth graders decide on AP and dual credit based on their interests. And so if a child is interested in engineering, they're going to go over all of the engineering classes. Sixth grade student retest for math community. We do math testing only once. And the ISEE test is not that. No, we don't look at that. So it's qualified. Okay. And would you listen? STEM is at Mayville Junior High. Okay, I think we made it through all of those questions. So I'm going to go back to social and emotional learning. So according to NAGC, social and emotional needs are the heart of well-being and foundation for achievement for all students. Many gifted children need targeted assistance with peer relationships, perfectionism, asynchronous development, situational stressors, and post-secondary planning. So in ALVIN ISD, we are very lucky to have advanced academic specialists on each of our campuses, and they strive to meet the social and emotional needs of our GT students, specifically with an emphasis on developing independent and self-directed learners. The effective needs of GT students are met through a multitude of lessons and activities, such as understanding giftedness, perfectionism, and emotional stress. So social and emotional learning has been shown to increase academic performance and improve student self-image. When the student is gifted, the potential benefits of social and emotional learning become even greater. ALVIN ISD provides support for social and emotional needs of our GT students by offering support in a variety of ways. And this may vary by campus due to each of the unique needs of the students on that campus. So we have social and emotional lessons embedded within the curriculum. We have the understanding of giftedness in an effective curriculum. We have activities that promote student relationships, and we love to promote a growth mindset through learning experiences and reflections. We have two groups that we'd like to provide a little bit of information on. We have SAGE and SING. So if any of these two groups are of interest to you, you can contact your advanced academic specialist on campus to figure out how to join the group. Next, you're going to see our advanced academic specialist contact list. So when you get the PDF version, in the recording, you'll be able to have access to all of these, but they're also on our advanced academics website. So it'll roll through. We have our elementary campus advanced academic specialists. We have our junior high advanced academic specialists. So you'll have access to all of their emails. We have our 3 wonderful high school advanced academic specialists. We also have a parent resource page. So this top link is going to take you to the ALVIN ISD website. So our parent resource page is going to be a Symbaloo with a variety of parent resources and links to different websites to support parents. We have linked here the Texas State Plan for the Education of Gifted and Talented Students. We strive to work with excellence in our department to meet the standards and beyond of this Texas State Plan. And then also there's an interactive resource for you. This is Working with Depth and Complexity at Home. It's available for English and Spanish. So there's just a set of questions that you can use that are in English and Spanish. So we can go ahead and open a version of this. So these are questions that are designed for you to use with any life activity. We're really working hard to make sure that we are using depth and complexity across the district at all grade levels, exposing the students to the icons, getting them used to seeing these as thinking prompts, developing these thinking habits. And so we want to extend this learning at home. So here are just a variety of questions that you could use. And again, they can be used with any of life activities. They can help you and the students to think deeply and complexly while you're communicating with your children. And I think,
So we have a couple of questions.
yeah, we have a couple of questions.
Oh, do you want to?
Well, this first one, because it popped up with SEL. Yeah, we have SEL on all of our campuses. It's a big focus. You know, our teachers are striving to provide excellent care for our students. And so we just know that when we're working with gifted students, that there's a specific set of social and emotional needs. And when our teachers go through the training to work with gifted students, they do take a social and emotional learning class. And so we just keep, we extend that, you know, learning, just make sure that our educators are aware of asynchronous development, overexcitabilities, some of those specific aspects that are associated with giftedness. We want to make sure that we are taking care of our students individually. But yeah, social and emotional learning, it's good for all of our kids, and our teachers across the district are doing a wonderful job making sure that they're taking care of all of our children. My son's APA math, 5th grade, not getting high grades. So we do consider the class performance could be considered part of that MAP matrix. So all of that's disclosed in the letter that will come out to all 5th grade students, but there are other factors that go into that MAP and STEM, but class performance is part of it. And the reason why it's really important is because we want to make sure that our students are doing well in their classes. When you get into the math and science, that's accelerated instruction. So we want to make sure that our students are not having any gaps in their learning and that they're able to keep up with the rigor and challenge of that accelerated instruction, because they're going ahead multiple grade levels, not just one. And we're going to drop I'm going to go ahead and drop a link. We do have a Google form that I'm going to drop into the chat box. And this Google form will allow you to ask any other questions that you may have. And it does collect emails so that we can specifically get back with you. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that in here right now. There's a Google form. And when you click on this, again, it's going to collect email addresses, but specifically we wanted to include that so that we could make sure that we could get back to you with the correct information. And we had one hand raised, Jennifer Bertrand. Did you need to ask a question in the chat? You're welcome. Thank you for all the support, everybody that's saying thank you. We really appreciate you being here. It's really nice to spend the time with you today.
Thank you for spending your time with us, and we appreciate all of you and your children. And if you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We are more than happy to help assist you with any of that. So you all have a great day. As I mentioned, just we are here to help you. So if you have any questions, you can put them on the form, and we will get back to you with those answers. Have a great day.
Thank you.